Hey everyone, today we're going to be giving our first impressions on a game called Mistborn The Deckbuilding Game.
Or the VHS tape.
Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn
The Deckbuilding Game. Yeah, this is not really a review.
No.
We did the unboxing recently. We just played this game a couple times. One of them we recorded. We only played the co-op version.
We got soundly thumped.
Like both times we got soundly.
Did we?
beaten.
How many cards? Oh, yes, we
did. We were not making any progress whatsoever.
So we don't know if our crushing was because of just the co-op mode.
Our crushing
is kind of the co-op mode is just kind of way too hard.
Extremely hard.
Or if if we miss something. I mean, sometimes games are just way too hard.
Sometimes.
I don't know if anyone out there has played the games like the Horrified World of Monsters. They're just everyone out there that's talking about it is like, wow, it's just way too hard. And this version might just be very difficult. We had a bad guy with 48 hit points. We all started with 36, and we're all at. What's he at? What was he at?
He's 48.
He's still at 48
yeah.
Because you can't hit him unless you're doing major damage, because he heals for 30 almost every
half the cards.
Almost
because
every turn.
We couldn't complete any missions.
So it's like there's ways to make him heal less than 30 each time, but we spent we barely got a couple of us got sort of near achieving that, but
Unless we grossly misread the rules.
No, I don't think so. A quick word on the components here. This is a deck building game, so obviously it's cards. I'd sleeve these cards. They do get a lot of play, but it's a decent stock. It's not going to be too bad, but I'd get some sleeves on them anyway. And there's a storage solution in the box where I think the cards will fit nicely with some sleeves. This game belongs to Bob. Bob's a savage, so who knows if any sleeves are going to get on here, or he's just going to borrow them from me. The bigger cards they don't get any play at all, so I wouldn't worry about sleeving those. They don't get in play; they just sit on the board. The individual player tokens, they're a fairly nice. Tokens. They're a fairly nice piece. And the player board itself, I always love when a board is inset, so that piece isn't going to slide around. Nice touch there. Brotherwise games. I always love good inset. But I would sleeve these cards. The dials are good enough. You've all played with dials like this before. They're not too loose. They're not too tight. They're not going to wear out on you.
We didn't have to assemble them. They were pre-assembled.
Yeah, they're pre-assembled, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So the components are good enough. They really are. You also have the money pieces. Yeah. And again, those aren't. They're fine. They're good enough. I thought there were some very interesting mechanics in this for a deck builder. I like that you had to spend certain things. You had to spend your medals in order to activate certain card abilities. I thought that was interesting. And you get more powerful as it goes on, and you can use more medals to continue. Some of the cards are pretty good. My only complaint would be that, like any deck builder, if you get a poor marketplace where the things are just too expensive, you're not buying anything. And you can get shut out real quick doing that. And it seems like the cutoff is really 4. You have to stretch to get above 4. And the other concern here, and this is not a complaint, this is just what happens within the game. When you draw on the bad guy's cards, this is in co-op mode that only these are used. So when you're drawing those on everyone that's an edict, you're losing cards from the marketplace. Yeah. So at one point I had my eye on a very good, very expensive card, and it took me, I'm saving up for the thing, and I just can't get it, and then one of the edicts eliminated it. And now what that card was, is it was going to allow us to move, or allow me to move 5 spaces on a track. So if I can finish it off, geez, I get it again. I just start moving on somebody else's track. I can pass you up. But finishing these is what diminishes the bad guy. And so it was important. It's like a 2-stage thing. You simply cannot do enough damage to him when he's healing for 30 every turn. You can't do it. You have to do these. And we just didn't get far enough.
So to me, I'm thinking the more players you have in co-op, the harder it is.
Possibly.
Because we had every round he was thrown 3 times. And we're splitting up our deck. Whereas if you were playing solo or even 2 players, you're getting more cards in your hand faster than he's dropping at you.
There's something to be said about that for sure.
I think.
I always say and I said it in our playthrough video if you watched it, and if you didn't, I suggest you go do. But in all deck builders, there's 3 phases. There's the beginning phase where you're getting run over and you're just trying to keep your head above water. There's the middle phase where you're in maintenance and you're able to deal with the things that are coming out. Mm-hmm. And then there's end game where you're finally able to accomplish your actual task. And I think when we lost, we were at the end of the maintenance phase. We were dealing with the things that were coming out and hurting us, and we were starting to get our feet under us, we had our feet under us to start knocking some of these things out.
So I'm thinking with less than 3, with less players, you get through those phases faster, I think.
Not sure. We'll have to try it out.
Yeah, that makes sense, Bob. I'd like to play this game, which is a 2-player co-op. I don't think that we're that close. I think we're just hitting our maintenance phase. I think as evidenced by we just couldn't mitigate damage.
Yeah.
You see, that's a different problem. You're right, and that is a problem with this game. The ability to heal seems very rare and very sparse.
Yeah, I got this guy. I had this little helper guy out that was supposed to provide all this healing, but I never was able to get the cards that would activate it. It's not a passive healing thing. I would have had to have played another card that made me play copper, and then I could do healing. And I don't even have.
Well, that's the thing. Is that on the card or is that on you? I'd say that's on you. But look at the card. The card's only healing for 2, and when you're on your turn, you're taking 5, 6 damage. 2 is not cutting the cheese.
Right. It should be a passive, because this person here, you lose your allies so hard and so quickly that even if I would have had every single card in here at my deck would have had a copper that I could have activated, he was only in play maybe 1 or 2 turns.
Right. Now that's the thing. I will say again, I think the combo is on you, and that's okay, but the low ability to heal as on the game. I saw one card in here that had a big heal on it, and it was like an 8 heal, but it was a double use. It was like a double pewter, and so you'd have to get that card and then another card to feed it at the same time. That's kind of a tricky combo to pull off to get. But again, that was the biggest heal I saw. I've got a heal card in here that was a little bit easier, but again, my heal card heals for 1. I mean,
I wonder if this game was just designed as a PvP, and
mostly,
and
the co-op was an afterthought.
I just wonder if they sort of shoehorned in a co-op mode, but these cards aren't really set up for the damage you take in a co-op game.
Looking at the starting cards, I think you would probably want to stick with those medals.
The medals that you have?
The 4 out of the 8, and then kind of plan that out with your team. Because I started off with zinc, tin. Well, I got 1 of each, so maybe not.
Yeah.
Have you got a copper card in your?
Nope.
I had copper.
What is your? See, I've got copper training. You don't even have copper training. You got bronze training.
Yeah.
No, it's not even in my starting deck. So
See,
I would have had to have.
Bob and I got a match. I remember the same.
I would have had to have found cards in there that were copper and had them come out while this seems like just too hard.
Well, you can use a bronze card to fuel that.
So that's what I was thinking, is maybe
something else.
To stick with the 4 that you. Well, but they're all 1 of pairs, so it's
right. But again, his bronze card is the one that's advancing him down the mission track, so he's probably not going to spend it in that manner. I don't think that's the best card for you. But again, my complaint is this: it gives you 2. Yeah. At the end of the game, you're taking 6, 7, 8 damage. Yeah. 2 is not even holding the door closed.
Yeah. Right. I think what I did when I saw that card, I'm like, oh, heal. I'm gonna grab it.
Right.
And it was just not a helpful card.
See, the thing about the heal card I grabbed, it's also a 3 attack. So I'm like, okay, 3 attack is good. Oh, and heal. But again, healing for 1, that's nothing. No. You know how many times I got to pull that card just to mitigate 1 hit?
Right.
So
yeah, and I think in PvP, you're not dealing nearly as much damage as the Lord of Ruler was in co-op.
Right, and you see that's another concern, is I realize it got to the end game for his card, and so it's going to accelerate. It's going to hit you hard. I understand that. I just, don't even look at the bottom thing. I looked at it. You don't even want to know. Go ahead, read it aloud.
Each player takes 9 damage. Additional dominance does 11 to each player.
Right. So once you get there, you take 9 damage. Another card gets drawn. There's 11. It's like, okay, that's 20. You start with 36.
Yeah. And even hitting you every turn. Almost.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Damage mitigation in this game, I would call weak, for sure.
Yeah.
At least in the co-op version.
At least in the co-op version.
From what we've
in the PvP version, it doesn't matter. You just blister people as fast as you can.
Yeah.
You know? And so, my deck in that case, I was doing
get a bomb draw with the the market cards.
Not necessarily.
No, I think that this game is set up for PvP, and there's not enough healing cards in there to handle a co-op version.
Healing cards.
Oh, yeah.
Good. But no, there's a small amount, and the ones that do heal, they're not healing you for enough. Now,
there's 4 healing cards in the last of the deck, but we probably eliminated a ton of them through the
a few. Now, there's a thing to be said about mission cards too. When we were in the keeping my head above water phase, since you guys are drawing adversaries, as am I, I focus my stuff on attack. And if you watch our playthrough, you'll see me attacking here. I did a lot of attacking. But because I was doing that attacking, something's got to be sacrificed. What was sacrificed for me was my advancement on the track.
Yeah.
So I draw that card. I'm not playing it because I have limited resources, and I'm trying to help you guys out and myself. I only started doing this towards the middle of the game. It's like, okay, there's not as much to kill. The things that are out there are not threatening. And then I'm moving 2-3 at a time to finally get moving.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'd like to play it again, knowing what we know now.
Yeah,
and
I
seeing
mean,
what we could do.
I started to go up those tracks right away, but I had these bad guys in front of me that kept sliding me down.
That would slide you back.
So.
You see, now that's a bummer of a draw. Because we went through that whole pile, and there was only one of those guys that was the -4 track. And I think Bob had one too.
Yeah.
But he wasn't out there for very long. Your guys out there like for 3 of your turns, which is a long time.
Yeah. For a lot.
To paralyze you. But I would say I enjoyed it. Bob, how much was this retail?
I think it was just over $40, so
It's not bad. It's not bad. Especially when you buy, like I said, when you buy a legendary game like Matrix Legendary, it's $80 and it's a deck building game.
Yeah.
So there's a deck building game coming.
Definitely this is a game we're going to play some more.
No, this one goes in the fireplace.
And our first impressions is that at least on that co-op mode, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It's definitely going to eat your lunch.
I think that, like I said, we played it a couple times. I think we were getting the rules and the interpretation correct, and it's RTFC, and there was no disagreements on interpretation.
Some,
but not in the one that we recorded, but
the one that came to blows, which will never be aired. Now, quick question. I'm sorry, Jay, I cut you off. Go.
Well, I was just saying one of the things. One of the interpretations of the rules was like Bob and I both had the same amount of points that was lower than health is lower than Jason. And the card says, the player with the least health loses whatever.
Or the most health. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were tied.
Yeah, and we were tied, and it's like, well, do you pick one or they both go down? But that didn't come into play in the one that we recorded. But that was
right.
I thought that was an annoying thing that was not clarified in the rules. Now, yes, I think in every other game it's clarified in the rules as that's how it's done. But if this one was going to do the same thing, it should say so.
Right. Now, that aside, Bob, you're familiar with this universe. Did you feel like this was loyal to the universe?
Yeah, I believe so. Because, having these abilities is kind of rare, and being able to use them all at the same time or, within a turn, I would agree. The cards and all the artwork is pretty good. Kind of matches what I've read through in the novels. Some of the names I didn't pronounce actually correctly.
We don't know that.
Yeah, because reading through, I've always thought it was called Adium, but apparently it's called Atium.
Well, yeah, but you heard that on the video you were watching.
Yeah, that's true. But
I'm pretty sure that word's charm, regardless.
Yeah, no, but they employ a lot of the names and the type of people, like the pewter arms, the copper clouds are used in the books quite a bit. Some of the mission names are all based on kind of the heists that they did in the movie. Or not in the movie, but in the books. Yep.
You hope they make a movie, and you hope it's good.
Yeah. But the Obligators, the Inquisitors, those guys were always very intimidating in the book, and they sure put us to the task.
The alligator stuff was funny.
Yeah.
You know you got to work tomorrow, right? My final thoughts, I would say I enjoyed it. It sounds like it's a reasonable price. Mm-hmm. It's got some unique mechanics in there. I would like to see the healing stuff be a little bit better
for the
co-op at least. I'd like to see, it's hard to ask for an expansion for that right now, but it is a gap that I see.
Yeah, but it'd be fun to play this one as a PvP.
Yeah.
And see how it goes. I'd like to play it again, another time as co-op. Just to see if we just got bad draws or something. It was weird.
Or maybe we're just bad players.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I was thinking, well, maybe we should focus on like only a certain set of the medals and then kind of divvy that up. So like, okay, you're going to be the attacker guy. I'll be trying to be the healer guy, and maybe not. I don't know.
I did a little bit of that. I matched the cards I got. I was trying to match against the special ability that would trigger with them I got. Yeah. But the problem with going down that road is you only have so many resources to spend on it. So you have to diversify. You can't focus. You have to diversify. Or you end up with a handful of cards you can't use.
It's just that those edicts and the dominance just chewed us up.
Yeah.
So it's almost like maybe they take some of the edict cards out of the deck. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe we were supposed to. Maybe for a 3-player game co-op, you're supposed to take some of the edict
cards. I didn't see any table that said for 3 players, for 4 players. But.
Yeah.
No, I think we just got punched.
I'm looking forward to playing more of this and putting out a video where we kind of revisit.
Yeah. Tell you how awesome we were.
5 months down the line, do it again after a couple more attempts.
Yeah.
Well, that's Mistborn The Deckbuilding Game. Not to be confused with Mistborn The Dietary Supplement.
And if you enjoyed this video, if you got anything out of it, please consider subscribing and clicking that like button, or leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you have to think about either Mistborn. If you played it, I'd love to hear if you played it in the co-op mode, what your experience was,
or if we did something wrong.
I don't think we did anything wrong. I think we just suck.
Give us better strategies for next time.
Don't suck.
Get good.
Yeah, get good.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.